Welcome to Buckets Live, coming to you from the Tommy John Home Studios. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I'm joined by Brian Fonseca. He's on Twitter and YouTube at Brian Fonseca NY. Actually, he's at YouTube at Brian Fonseca, at Brian Fonseca. You finally, not finally, I guess it happened last year too, but no Heat money line this year. No Heat.
I did one in the Cavs series.
How about Bam today coming out and calling out Pat Riley? It's gonna be.
I didn't take it as he was calling out Pat Riley. I almost took it as he's like egging him on to do something.
Yeah. I was calling him out, being like, "You guys should ask about Pat Riley. What have you been doing? Why am I the best player on a playoff team? Supposedly, that should never be the case. Apparently." We'll do some best bets.
It was for a couple series, even when the other guy was there. But that's neither here nor there.
Rude. Tyler was good this year. Tyler got screwed in most improved player voting, by the way. Congrats to Jackson Daniels and those with those tickets.
You think Tyler should have gotten?
Yeah, I would have voted for Tyler.
Yep. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Tyler was great this year.
Oh, it was Zubac to be easily.
Nah, Zoo was good. Zoo just got a couple more touches. He was good, but we'll do best bets. We'll also talk about some of these series and kind of give a view of where they're at. Heads up, I am cautiously optimistic. We'll see. Brandon Anderson had some stuff go on at his house. But I am cautiously optimistic we'll have a Cavs-Pacers series preview for you coming to you on Thursday. So we'll have best bets on the series, etc. If for some reason that does not work out, I will get you one on Friday with one of our great Buckets contributors. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button at youtube.com/the Action Network. If you're in the comments, holler at us and let us know what are you betting on? What, Thursday? I forgot what day it is because I was at a game last night. Tell us what you're betting on Thursdays. We do have 2 games in the association that's still battling through. Should be some good ones here. Brian, let's do some best bets for Thursday. So we got 2 games, and these series are a lot of fun. Knicks at Pistons. Pistons are -1.5. Knicks +1.5. Total 212.5. That's down from 213.5 at open. Spread has not moved. Nuggets are at Clippers, trying to close out the series. Clippers are -6.5. Open 6. Total is down to 212.5 from 214.5. What do you like on Thursday in the association?
We'll see how the show transpires, but all I'm on for right now is I found Mitchell Robinson at one book over 5.5 rebounds, and I think they need him to play maybe a good amount in this game. And I also have Nikola Jokic over 1.5 threes against the Clippers. So one prop each game. I'm not playing it or anything. We can talk it out, and we will, evidently, because we're going to preview these games. Denver +6 is extremely tempting. +6.5, rather. Denver +6.5 is extremely tempting. But I'm not pulling the trigger on it yet. We'll see. And we'll see, like, do commenters who arrive, what do they think? Because I'm sure there'll be some Denver people who may think that this is over.
Yeah, so I'm going to be on unders here. Game 6 unders have been good historically. So let's take the largest sample possible, and let's look at not the largest, the round 1. Round 1 game 6s. 79, 94, and 6 since 2003. That's the over mark is 79, 94, and 6, which is 44%. So it's 56% to the under in those circumstances, based off of where these series are at as well. I do like the opportunity here. I got in on the market early on this. I had 213 in the Pistons game. These games tend to be absolute drag out rock fights. Everyone looks to game 7, and the market honestly doesn't overcorrect, but it definitely it's harder. That number's gonna if either of these go 7, the number will open lower than any game in the series, and then it will move down. That is what will happen. It may hit a point where a group comes in and starts betting the over, and that moves it back up. But it will take money early on the under. But the secret is that game 6s are basically game 7s. The trick is through the first 4 games, you're usually battling back and forth with adjustments. I think Warriors Rockets is a good example of this tonight. So Warriors Rockets, first 4 games, you're battling back and forth. Each game's an under. It's ugly. It's tight. It's very competitive. And then you get to game 5 with the Warriors up 3-1, and it's a blowout. So that one, like the number starts rising up a little bit more because it's a blowout. What winds up happening instead in game 6, though, is you're out of adjustments. Everybody knows what everybody else is running. You run everything that you can kind of run out there, and it's not as coin flippy as game 7's, but it's still pretty coin flippy. And the outcomes are basically either the home team stomps the team that's trying to come back from down 3-1 or 3-2, and they take care of business. And in that case, the other team just can't score enough. They run out of gas. Or it's a knockdown drag out, and the other team is able to go on the road and get the big win with defense. It's very rare that you see the opposite, where it's like a high scoring, super flying back and forth game, especially in the playoffs in general, but especially in game 6s, there's been some value on them. Now, I do want to say there is one spot here, which is home favorites, which the Pistons do qualify for. If you're a home favorite and you're down 3-2, that number is 16-9 to the over, which is interesting. Like, why would that be the case? I think that that's primarily based off of a stretch where we had a lot of weirdo games with various kind of weird situations around COVID, because there was a stretch there where we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row, and 4 of those were basically during the COVID era. So I like the unders tomorrow. I think that both games are more likely to be rock fights. Clippers are probably going to bounce back from that offensive performance. Nuggets are probably going to regress. I am on the Pistons, or I'm sorry, I'm on the Knicks to win and close out the series. I've already bet that. I will not have a side in Nuggets and Clippers.
Sounded like a butt was coming for Knicks when you said that you're going to be backing up.
So the play on that
Any
is
hesitancy? Any hesitance at all?
No,
Detroit.
not really.
I'll remind you, Detroit, while they're not world beaters, 0-2 at home this series. Also won a game where they shot 24% from 3, or roughly thereabouts. 27, might have been 24 the game before. Also, Jalen Brunson, ankle issue. Josh Hart fell weird. They sat, and Detroit's going back home for a game 6. I don't have a side in this game, but I've kind of flip-flopped back and forth. I also may not pick a side because I had Knicks in 6 before the series began. But the route to getting here has been a little bit tighter than even I anticipated, with considering the respect I have for Detroit.
I just want to pop back over to Warriors Rockets real quick. I said that all these games have gone under. That's not accurate. So they went over tonight, like I kind of mentioned. They also went over in game 2. So it's kind of interesting that, or in game 4, I'm sorry. They went over in game 4. That one, so this is 2 straight overs now for them going over. But I do think when you kind of look at the context of how these games have gone, I still think an underplay there is very obvious. I'll be on that game on Friday as well. Knicks Pistons. So here's the trend, and I think it's pretty important. If you have 2 wins in the series and you're down 3-2 and you're a home favorite, you're not even above 500 straight up in round 1. 12-13, 48%, 11-14 ATS at 44%. If we expand it beyond round 1, if we just look at it's game 6, you're down 3-2 and you're favored. 32-36, 4 games under 500, 47%. Like, more often these teams do not win. Now, those are trends, and a lot of the trends that I played in game 5 didn't hit for me, right? So it's pertinent. You play these things over the large sample. My counter would be the Knicks are the better team in this series. Like, they've had various opportunities, and they have whizzed down their legs several times. And if you want to say they should have actually they should be down 3-2. I don't disagree with you.
Brandon Anderson would say the series should be over and Detroit should be moving on right now.
Yeah, Brandon is not thrilled with how the series has gone from a process to betting standpoint.
Yes.
But look, the Knicks offense is just way better. And I think they're gonna take care of business. They've won twice in Detroit. The Knicks, it's entirely within the Knicks' control. So it's like the Knicks might blow it again. Yes, 100%. But which side do you want to bet on? Like, I want to bet on the better team that all they have to do is avoid failure rather than trying to bet on Detroit being the better team, because I don't think that they're the better team. I think that the Knicks are the better team. The offense is better. They have more reliable guys. OG's been great. The injury stuff is definitely a concern because of, everything with that team is just like they run out of gas and get injured and super physical and the whole nonsense. But they also play through a lot. Those guys are tough. So I like the Knicks to take care of business and win in game 6 on the road.
As you know, I've seen every single possession of this series.
Yes.
Every single one. Yep. And I've had thoughts on every single one because at New York Post Sports, we've been doing watch-alongs for every single Knicks playoff game. And we'll be back tomorrow night live on the YouTube channel for New York Post Sports for Game 6 with the guest. Knicks also top 10 in the NBA ATS after a loss this season. And one of the things I did like about them heading into this series was their ability to respond after a loss. Detroit, by the way, is 4th in that regard. And Detroit's responded a couple times this series. And I think I think the last 4 games have been decided by 12 points total. And the first game was a game where Detroit was outplaying the Knicks for basically 3 quarters up until Jalen Brunson put on his cape, as my co-host Dexter Henry would say. And Cameron Payne also lit it up and wasn't missing a shot. Yesterday, I think they probably closed that game if you don't have this weird stretch where, people didn't quite understand what's going on or missed it or forgotten. But there was a stretch where Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart get hurt basically around the same time. And they both have to come out. And the game is like a 1-possession game. They come out with 2+ minutes left. And the Knicks have 1 timeout. And they're getting ready to check back in. But they're just kind of stranded there because nobody's fouling. And the Knicks aren't going to burn their last timeout. And then Detroit goes up 6 with just seconds remaining. The Knicks ended up bringing it within 3. Deuce McBride, who Free Sauce comments about, who he hasn't been great. Deuce McBride is in for the final possession. He misses the first free throw, so he has to miss the second. They don't get it back and they lose. Every game has been like that. The game before, the Pistons fans felt like they got robbed because there was a no call at the end that could have been a foul that could have potentially put the Pistons up because they were trailing by 1, and it would have been a foul that sent them to the free throw line for, I think, 3 free throws, not even just 2. So it's tough. I think with this one, though, the reason I go back and forth is because I do think Detroit can win at home. They haven't this series. They probably should have at least once. And I worry that Detroit, who was shooting 38% from 3 to start the series, has had 2 games now where they've been cold. And as someone who had Knicks in 6 beforehand, I'm not feeling amazing about it. And I'm probably going to just balk on picking a side here because I don't feel like I have to. But I don't blame people. Detroit opened at -2, and it's basically the same line right now. Maybe 1.5. You're muted.
I have a hard time identifying what the Pistons have done outside of having Cade, hitting some good stuff with Duren. It's hard to kind of find what's been consistently their advantage in the series. A lot of it to me also is just the Brunson offense is not, I don't love it.
That's it. That's it. It's the Knicks falling back into their bad habits of isolating Brunson a lot. And it's also being all right, Karl-Anthony Towns, we're going to have Tobias Harris guard you. We'll have Jalen Duren help sometimes. Karl-Anthony Towns has had some success in this series. Last game wasn't awesome, but he did hit some shots. And in game 2, famously disappeared for that second half. And now you're in a position where, and TJ_Proby comments, McBride over 5.5 points. The only reason I'm a little worried about that is because this may be a game where Thibodeau plays 6 consistent minutes.
So I called out in the series preview on Buckets. One of the things I called out was I said, hey, McBride got absolutely annihilated by Cade, and that's continued. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to have Miles on the floor because defensively he's having a really hard time matching up. And Miles has been a really good defender through the years for the Knicks. It's just a bad matchup. He can play next series. It's not going to matter, but he can play next series. And I think I would agree that I would not be surprised if like Mikhail and Josh and OG just played like 44, 45 minutes. Just this is it. We got to close this out. We're going for it, which makes me worried about game 7, by the way. If he overburns them in game 6, like if I'm wrong and they don't get out of the series in 6, then I'm going to be like, man, I think you got to go Pistons.
I can't even get there. I can't even think
if they
about
lose
that.
in the first round.
Deuce for what it's worth, over 5.5 points once this series so far. He had 8 points in game 2. And that obviously became a Pistons win. The minutes have been up and down. He had 9, then he had 19, then he had 22 in this past game, just over the last 3. Before that, he was in like the mid-teens, 15, 14, 13, around there. He's just not hitting shots. Like, this has been a thing. A lot of Knicks fans have been like, man, Deuce in this series, like, he hasn't been awesome. And Tibbs is not like really eager to go to his bench. I feel like there are times he prefers Campaign, but Campaign has also been super up and down. The game after he went off and really helped them in the fourth quarter, he played 4 minutes. He kind of came in, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, this is tough. And by the way, just betting wise, this is what it's supposed to be. Like, it's supposed to be very difficult to figure this shit out. I was doing really well up until this week. These last 2 days, and then today, I'm getting my ass kicked. So I'm trying to rebound a little bit. So I'm also tentative going into tomorrow.
To the postseason, I rebounded a little bit over the weekend. Yesterday was fine. Today is going to be probably a negative unless the Lakers can pull this game off. It's going to be a rough one for me, but that's why I only want to have in today's games. This is where it gets really tough because you almost, I bought low on both teams because I mentioned the trends when we did buckets. And Rockets obviously was a smash. I did live bet Warriors when they were down 30 at like 20-1, just because I was like, look. And we saw what happened in the fourth quarter. Like, look, this Rockets team, you can. I should have
take
your shots on.
That. Lakers went on a run, by the way. So this became a 1-possession game.
Yeah. And just got by Gabe Vincent for a bucket. They're battling back and forth.
Yeah. 2-possession game now.
Free Sauce says, I'm liking Bridges over 1.5 threes minus 136 on FanDuel. I like that too. They're able to get Bridges really clean looks off of pin downs, in part because of sometimes they're having Schroeder on him. Sometimes if Cade isn't the primary assignment on Jalen, he winds up taking him a lot of the time because they want to try and keep Cade off of OG because he's so physical, which is why Toby has to do it so often. So yeah, I think I like that play on Bridges over 1.5 threes. That's a good number. I will actually bet that. That's a really good number by Free Sauce. Here in our comments at youtube.com/theaction network. Give us a like and subscribe. Hit the button.
Over that in 4 straight Mikal Bridges, by the way. And getting 6 or so attempts, 5 attempts last game, 11 in game 2 of this series. I don't know if he'll get 11 in this game coming up, but he's getting decent attempts. And Free Sauce also says he's also going back to Karl Anthony Towns under 12.5 rebounds plus assists. That's not an awesome rebounding series for him, especially on the offensive side.
Man, I wonder if we go with a parlay of Towns over threes, under rebounds. Like, that's his role in the series. That to me is an interesting idea.
Yeah.
For me,
like he did get the 11 rebounds last game. I don't remember what his over under was, if it was 10.5 or 11.5 or even 9.5 for that matter. He is not getting the assists. Like, he is passing out early of some of these Tobias Harris / help coverages.
Yeah,
which is what the Pistons want. You know what I mean? Like, Cat didn't beat them last game. Cat beat them. Also Brunson, the 2 games beforehand. And obviously in game 2, like, the games that the Pistons have been able to win in this series, Cat doesn't break 20 points. Cat goes under. So that's also maybe one of the formulas, is like Tobias Harris plus help. Like, Tobias Harris is able to do enough And this is why I kind of like the decision by JB Bickerstaff. Like, props to him. It hasn't worked out all the time, but also, let's be real, Cat made some miracle shots in game 4. But like, I like the decision to put Tobias Harris on him as opposed to Jalen Duren, because when Jalen Duren does guard him, like, Karl-Anthony Towns is too quick for him. And he could also get that pick and pop three, that 3-point shot easier because he's going to have the space. And Tobias Harris is like, he's not stronger. He's not super strong, but he's strong enough. And there have been possessions where it's like, why doesn't Cat take him to the basket? And I think that's kind of what the Pistons want. They want Cat to second guess himself.
Yeah. Let's go to the other game on the slate tomorrow, and let's talk about. Did you give your best bet in that game?
The last one or this one? I'm doing Towns over 1.5 threes.
Okay.
Even in the games, I mean, he's had games where he's played like shit this season, and he's gotten, like, even last game. Not that he played like shit, because he didn't. He wasn't great though, despite what the counting stats would say. But he was 2 for 4 last game. It's really an attempts thing. If he gets 3 attempts, I'm going to be pissed off. But he should, ideally, if he gets like 5 attempts, I feel good about it.
Nice.
Making 2.
Do you have anything on Nuggets Clippers?
Actually, I also have Mitchell Robinson over 5.5 rebounds. Forgot about that, because I think they're going to need him this game. That's the one guy off the bench who I'm confident gets minutes.
That tracks.
I like that one more than the Towns one, actually. Mitchell Robinson over 5.5 rebounds. He's been getting boards. Yesterday, I think yesterday they hit 7 in the first quarter or something absurd like that. He's the only guy who they can rely on getting offensive rebounds. Josh Hart to some degree, but Mitchell Robinson's Mitchell Robinson. For Denver, I have Jokic over 1.5 threes. That's what it is. 1 for 4 last game, but I'll take 4 attempts. I'd like.
Yeah, he's been able to find a few opportunities. So in that one, what I'll tell you is that being at game 5, I think Ty Lue threw the kitchen sink at Jokic in this game to get the result that he got, which was Jokic had a bunch of assists, but he didn't score it all. And the idea was, all right, let's make somebody else beat us. And then the Jamal Murray beat their head in with a shovel. And now they're in a real bind, because they start off with Dunn on Jamal, and Jamal gets him switched off for Harden. And then he just gives it to Jokic, and then he runs an off-ball action, and every time it's an open 3. Every time. Even when Dunn honestly has been on him, if they run him off of off-ball screen, he gets open and he's clean and he's got looks. I don't know if Jamal's going to have back-to-back games. It's not often, honestly. He has really big games and then like normal games or suboptimal games, not really bad ones, except for last year. I've said consistently that he's looking great and that this would be a good series for him, and Chris Dunn couldn't stop him. And that's been honestly the case. His performance shooting wise in games 1, 2, and 4 was more about him just missing shots. He had a really good game offensively in game 3, but the rest of the Nuggets were terrible. So it didn't like quote unquote count, but Jamal's been great in the series. He's created open looks. He generated 8 assists in game 4. He was obviously dominant last night. He was the best player on the floor. Look, I should be on Nuggets here. I'd said the trends about these teams that are down 3-2 that are favored, they're under 500 straight up. I should be on Nuggets here based off of that. Plus, I do not trust James Harden, Kawhi Leonard to deliver. I just don't. I do not trust them to do so. I think you have to have a certain mentality and a certain approach and a certain amount of leadership and toughness, and I do not believe that this team has it. I think they're a very talented team. I think they are overall a better team than Denver, but Denver has just done the thing where you find a way to win. They did it in game 1 in overtime. They did it in game 4 on the miracle at the wall. And then they got the big Jamal Murray game. And now the Clippers, you're probably still due another Jokic game. What'll be interesting is if tomorrow is a Jokic game and a Kawhi game, then it probably comes down to role players, and role players shoot better at home. There's a couple of pieces of evidence here. Nuggets go down 0-2 to the Wolves last year. Storm back, take games 3 and 4 in Minnesota. They take game 5, and it's like, oh, they figured them out. They'll wrap it up. And the Wolves run them off the floor in game 6. Just beat the snot out of Denver in game 6, setting up game 7. Because Denver walked into that game, much like the Warriors tonight, and we're like, all right, fine, we'll get you at home. Cool. You want it that bad, you can have it. We'll get you at home. And then game 7, they were up 20, fourth quarter, they collapse. I don't think this Clippers team is built like the Wolves are. I don't think they're as hungry. I don't think they're as tough. I don't think they're as good. But there is a chance the Clippers just come out tomorrow night and just blow the doors off them. So like this is like an alt game where I am not going to play it, so I can't recommend it as an official play. But if you're like, I want to bet the side in Nuggets Clippers, I would be like, take 9.5, whichever direction you want. Don't take both. Take 9.5, whichever direction you want, because I feel like there's a good chance that it's either a Clippers blowout or a Nuggets blowout. Now I say that I have a bet on more than one overtime game in the series at a very long number, and I'm halfway there. So I need a close game, right? And I will victory lap that. But I'll also talk about how I gave out in the show that you should play the alts, because I do think that's probably not a bad idea. If we look at these spots in this spot, let's look at round one only. So you're down 2-3. You're at home. It's round one, and you win. So if the Rockets win, the average margin of victory in those games is 15 points. Game 6, home favorite, down 2-3.
Out of how many games?
That's 12 out of. Hang on.
That's crazy.
12, all 12 wins out of the 25.
15 or more.
Yes.
I mean, average of 15, not 15 or more.
Now, if you lose by 9.7 points per game.
So we may not get close games tomorrow, is what you think?
Right. Because, again, when you get to this point in the series, it's either you can leverage it or you can't. And that difference is pretty significant. Some of the previous ones in the spot, round one, game 6, down 2-3. Knicks did win by 3. That was a close one, right? They win them by 3 over the Sixers last year. 2021 Nuggets Blazers. Okay. The Blazers were home favorites. They lost by 11. 2021 Lakers Suns. They lost by 13 in that one. So these are the kind of games that you're kind of looking at where it's round one, you're battling back and forth, but one team gets the advantage or the other. Free Sauce, who has a lot of plays tonight, says Jamal Murray over 5.5 assists. It's crazy. His potential assists are at 9 this series, but he's over this in 4 or 5. Makes sense. That 5.5 number is low. The Jamal Murray number in Denver that we always joke about is like his regular season line is 22-6. That's who he is. Every year, 22-6. Can start terribly. He finishes with 22-6 every year. That's his regular season average. Playoffs is more like 23 and 6.5 because he plays more minutes. So yeah, I like that play a lot. Over 5.5 assists for Jamal is pretty good. But there's also like the idea of this being, if this is an under game, it could be like way under, and maybe that would suppress it. But again, I will say this. So if you like the Nuggets, you like the over here. How about this? When the home team is favored down 2-3 and they lose, the over's 11-2 since 2003. So
I was gonna say the Jamal Murray playoff point number that you guys have, I don't know if it's high enough. I know the last couple of years it hasn't been what it was maybe 2023 and before, but
yep.
This is something I was talking about. I think it was Buckets with I think it was me, you, and Brandon, where I was like, man, Denver still hasn't gotten the Jamal Murray game either. When we were talking about like the possibility of a Jokic game, and the Jamal Murray game happened. But the thing that people have to remember is that he has plenty of playoff series where there's more than one game. and the reason why I bring that up is because you mentioned if this is a Jokic and Kawhi game, I think it's more likely that Jamal Murray outplays James Harden. Very much more likely. Like I have way more confidence in that than I do the Jokic versus Kawhi matchup, even though, like, yes, you would favor Jokic there typically, but Kawhi, I mean, 2-time finals MVP, famously for two different countries, technically. Not even just 2 different cities. So I think with this game, the number I'm tempted by in terms of a side here is just Denver plus 6.5. But I like the idea of going with an alt. One, I think plus 6.5. I think you could take the money line in this spot, but I also think the alt is It's not without reason, especially the number you'd get at like -8.5. Like that's going to be really good plus money.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's like you're betting on the Clippers to fall apart again. Where have we seen that before? With this same iteration of guys.
Yeah. Warriors lose to the Rockets tonight in a blowout. I was on Rockets, gave it out. Not surprised.
Yeah.
Warriors, I'm pretty confident. I've already bet Warriors game 6. They're gonna win. They're gonna win. Close us out. We'll be done. And that's.
I will too.
Here's what's crazy. I think this is like, this is a non-betting thing. I think this is already a satisfactory outcome for the Rockets.
I agree.
Okay? You went 6 in the first round in your first playoff run versus a tough Warriors team that added Jimmy Butler, that had Steph Curry. You got to identify what was wrong. You figured out what the problems were. You had a feel-good victory on the way out for your home fans, and then the Warriors wrap it up in game 6. That's how I feel.
And you continue to fight with them and hold your own in seemingly all of these fights, which I appreciate as our resident combat sports person. We do have some boxing picks, by the way. There's a video going up, I think, early Friday morning, if anyone's interested in some boxing plays this weekend. It's a big, big weekend for the sport that not that many people care about. Anyway, so I think with Houston, I'd be encouraged organizationally, and there's an offseason conversation that I want to have about them. I don't think we're doing that today, but they're one of the teams, I think, a growing amount of teams that I have circled as to, what are they going to do? What's their next step? As people try to just figure out, all right, what's Giannis going to do? What's KD going to do? What's Houston going to do with Jalen Green? So on and so forth. But I think, not to say that game 6 and 7 are just straight house money for them, because I won't completely write them off for game 6, but if this is where it ends, great for them. And they're gonna be a problem, because I still think Tari Eason's really good. I still think Amen Thompson's really good.
Yeah.
Developmental pieces. There's people that are high on Reed Shepherd who didn't really get a chance this year. Like there's a lot to look forward to with Houston.
Yeah, I agree. And they'll make a move, I think, and add somebody this summer, depending on who comes available. Perhaps somebody currently wearing green. I want to comment on this. So the Warriors wound up losing by 15 tonight, and if this was actually like a 20-point blowout, but let's do 15. Teams that lost by 15 in the previous game, and it's a game 6 or 7, and they're favored. So it's 6 or 7, they're favored, got blown out the previous game. How about this one? 14-5 straight up, 11-8, 58% ATS. That's Warriors. That's also the Clippers, by the way. So that's a pretty good one for that spot too. So this is what's weird, is like it depends on whether you are up or down in the series, I think, is like the real key here. Actually, let me look at that. If you got 3 wins, it's even better. So the Warriors are in the spot here. 12-2, 86% straight up, 9-5, 64% ATS. Not a huge sample, but it's since 2003. It's all the spots in the first round.
It's not nothing, and it's -5. Like it's not even like it's not a double-digit number or anything like that. It's a totally feasible number. And like we've seen plenty of times in the NBA where, all right, the team that is up 3-2 and they're at home, and the team that you think is better, like they just smack the other team.
Yeah.
Like it's like from the jump. This is one of my fears actually because not to go back to Knicks Pistons, but like we haven't gotten a blowout in that series, like a true blowout. And I've wondered, all right, is there going to be a game where immediately Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns are just firing on all cylinders from 3, and then it's 30-11 at the end of the first quarter. Then it's like, oh shit, we're getting one of these. We haven't gotten that in that series. I thought we were getting that with Denver and the Clippers before the Clippers got their comeback.
Yeah.
in game 4, and to no avail. I just think in general, like there's been a lot of interesting, like just back and forth action in the playoffs. I think with Houston though, their defense is really good, but man, it comes down to same thing with Orlando for me, more so with Orlando, and they're gone, so RIP. But Houston just can't score enough. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's go do it for Buckets Live. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. We'll be back with you tomorrow night, 10:30 Eastern. probably during halftime of Clippers and Nuggets around that time. Come on back and join us or check us out later at youtube.com/The Action Network. Thanks to our video crew with Gifford Gould getting us up at youtube.com/The Action Network. We'll see you guys again next time. Check out Brian Fonseca, MY on Twitter, in the Action Network app, on his YouTube page at Brian Fonseca, and during watch parties for every single Knicks game.
Yep.
New York Post.
Back tomorrow night.
Till then, let's get buckets.